News 5AA.
Partly cloudy, a high of 27. With the 3 o'clock news, I'm Kendall Brettig.
Hardware stores have lots of stuff, but for sliding door parts, visit rollerco.com.au.
5 more people with COVID have died in SA, and we've had 1,846 new cases, the lowest number this year. The number of people in hospital has dropped to 285 and 24 people are in ICU. Premier Stephen Marshall says from midnight some restrictions will be eased.
We will go back to 50% density in our hospitality. Still seated consumption indoors, no change to outdoor densities. Paediatric elective surgery for children in South Australia will also be permitted as of 1 minute past midnight tonight.
And QR codes will also no longer be needed in shops or at petrol stations, but people will have to check in at hospitals, aged care homes and restaurants. The Premier's also announced a major emergency declaration across the state after the recent storms and flooding. It'll last 2 weeks. The hunt for a group of 5 people who attacked a restaurant owner at Christie's Beach around midnight is continuing. He was punched in the head and stabbed in the hand after confronting a group graffitiing outside his Southern Palace Chinese restaurant. He suffered serious but non-life-threatening injuries. The Prime Minister has brushed off a tense exchange between himself and 2021 Australian of the Year, Grace Tame. Ms Tame visibly snubbed Scott Morrison at an event in Canberra earlier this week, refusing to look him in the eye while shaking his hand. She's been an outspoken critic of the PM during her tenure as Australian of the Year, but Mr Morrison says he wasn't fazed.
When anyone comes to our home, when Jenny and I we invite someone to our home, we greet them with a smile. I haven't raised any issues about this. All I'm saying is we were there that day to celebrate those who'd done an incredible job for our country. Grace is a passionate person who's raised important issues.
And it's been announced Grace Tame will take part in Adelaide Writers' Week in March. Labor's questioning the federal government's commitment to protecting the Great Barrier Reef. The coalition will invest an extra $1 billion into improving water quality, reef management and research over the next 9 years. It takes total conservation funding to more than $3 billion. But the opposition's Mark Butler says the plan misses the mark.
You can't be serious about protecting the Great Barrier Reef if you're not serious about climate change. And I think Australians understand that this government simply is not serious about climate change.
Russia is downplaying concerns about a potential invasion of Ukraine. Speaking at a press conference in Canberra, Russia's ambassador to Australia insists they have no plans to cross the border. More than 100,000 troops have amassed along the dividing line between the two nations.
This Australian Open tennis update thanks to the super fast charging all-electric Kia EV6.
The first of today's men's semi-finals is underway at Melbourne Park. Rafael Nadal has won the first set in his encounter with Matteo Berrettini 6-3. Daniil Medvedev and Stefano Tsitsipas meet in the other, while Aussie pair Jason Kubler and Jamie Fawless have gone down in the mixed doubles final. And Aussie Matt Ebden has revealed he may miss the birth of his child because of WA's harsh border rules. Ebden and Max Purcell will take on fellow Aussies Tanasi Kokonakis and Nick Kyrgios in the men's doubles final tomorrow.
I got to go back and do 2 weeks of quarantine now and potentially miss the birth of my baby because of this. When I left, it was certain that I could return on the 5th of February. The due date is the 14th of Feb, but likely to come early. But anyway.
And Ash Barty will meet Danielle Collins in the women's singles decider. To cricket, and England is 6 for 143 on the second day of the Women's Ashes Test at Manuka Oval in Canberra. The Aussies declared at 9 for 337. And to soccer, Riley McGree and Craig Goodwin have both scored their first goals for Australia as the Socceroos thumped Vietnam 4-0 in their World Cup qualifier, while the Matildas are through to the Asian Cup quarterfinals after beating Thailand 2-1. Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Glenside, got a crash on Green Hill Road near Portrush Road. Findon got a blackout there with lights playing up on Grange Road at Findon Road. Christie Downs, urgent waterworks there. Dyson Road near Elgin Avenue. And Ovingham Torrens Road at Churchill Road's got works. Speeds down to 40 k's. Cameras today, Port Road, Croydon, Trimmer Parade at Seaton. Take better care of your sleep this new year. Come to the 40 Wink Stocktake sale and save up to 50% off store-wide. But hurry, sale must end Sunday. 40 Winks, serious about sleep. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Partly cloudy, a high of 27 today. Partly cloudy again tomorrow, 29. Mostly sunny Sunday, 32 and 33 for Monday. At the moment, 25. Now let's hear what's happening on 9 News tonight.
See a driver's terrifying close call. A tow bar comes flying through his windscreen. It was all caught on camera. Some of SA's COVID restrictions eased. What you need to know. The amazing moment shark watchers get a much closer look than they were expecting. And the SpaceX rocket on a collision course with the moon. I'm Brenton Braglis. See the full story on 9 News tonight at 6.
Jade Robran on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
It's 7 minutes past 3 o'clock. Welcome to the program, and if you're live streaming us, hello there. Thank you very much for downloading the program. Now, you might remember last week a couple of people were thrown out of the Australian Open for wearing T-shirts saying, "Where is Peng Shuai?" Well, supporters are going to hand out yellow ribbons and also 1,000 "Where is Peng Shuai" shirts at the tournament ahead of the women's final. They're hoping to turn Rod Laver into a sea of yellow to raise awareness for the tennis player and also human rights in China. Now, Drew Pavlou is behind the campaign and he joins us now. Drew, thanks very much for joining the program.
Thanks so much for having me on, Jade. And I just want to note quickly, I'm not the only one behind this campaign. It's a very broad-based movement. We've got all these thousands of people all across the country who are really getting behind this campaign because it's all about this innocent woman who's missing because of the Chinese government.
Well, this is a very strong message that you'll send.
Thank you so much. I mean, it's really all about getting her back into the news. It's really unfortunate because she was basically forcibly disappeared back in a couple months ago. And unfortunately, as these things happen, the news moves on to the next story. And at the end of the day, though, there's still this innocent woman who, her life has been torn apart. And we're trying to speak up for her. She spoke up. She basically raised a very serious allegation of sexual abuse against a top Chinese Communist Party official. And as a result, she's been forcibly disappeared. And it's all about trying to speak up for Peng Shuai, make sure that she is remembered. The Chinese government wants to erase her memory from history, and we're trying to make sure that doesn't happen.
What's your motivation being involved in this?
Well, I've been a human rights activist against the Chinese government for about 3 years now. Some people may have heard of my story. I was a student at the University of Queensland. I was speaking up for the Uyghur ethnic minority group. That there are about 1 million people in concentration camps over in China. Yeah. There's a large Uyghur community in Adelaide, actually, and we've worked together quite closely. I was speaking up for this group, and the Chinese Communist Party basically started attacking me. I was violently assaulted on campus. My family received death threats. I was singled out in Chinese state media, and the Chinese government called for me to be expelled, and then the university actually spent about $500,000 trying to do it. And so that's how I first kind of had my first experience of Chinese government censorship, the way that they try and intimidate people and silence them if they try to speak out anywhere in the world. And I've been trying to speak out as loud as I can since that has happened. And now with this Peng Shuai situation, seeing how she's been treated and seeing how they've tried to censor people in Australia, they're trying to export their censorship abroad. It's just shocking to me. I don't think any Australian could just sit there and think, the Chinese government has the right to say what we can and can't say. No one wants this, and so we're trying to speak up for freedom of speech in Australia.
We saw last week there was a couple of people that were removed for wearing these T-shirts, and here you are planning to hand out 1,000 to those that would choose to wear them for the women's final. Has Tennis Australia contacted you or anyone in your supporter group to try and stop you?
So Tennis Australia said to the media that they would continue to evict people for wearing these shirts, and then we sort of called their bluff. So we created a GoFundMe. We said we'll raise as much money as we can, and we'll print 1,000 T-shirts and hand them out for free at the gate to the final. And we knew that we would force them to back down because they weren't going to evict 1,000 people at the final. So at this stage, they've capitulated and they've said that they're not going to be evicting anyone for wearing these T-shirts. We've heard nothing from them, and so we're still waiting to hear from Tennis Australia. We've called upon them to hold a minute silence before the final on Saturday, just to remember and recognise Peng Shuai. She was a great tennis star. She had a great career at the Australian Open, and I don't think it's acceptable that that Tennis Australia will just basically look the other way while this innocent woman, a great tennis star, is persecuted. She's in this terrible place. It's turned out that Tennis Australia takes about $25 million a year in corporate sponsorship from China for the Australian Open, and we think it's because they're trying to basically appease their Chinese sponsors that they want to try and stop what we're doing. The Chinese government, there have been top Chinese government propagandists. The former editor of the Global Times said on Twitter that they would actually boycott the Australian Open women's final in China if we have the Peng Shuai t-shirts there. And look, if they do that, that proves our entire point that Peng Shuai is not safe, because if the Chinese government tries to say, oh, she's safe, she's completely fine, well, she's completely fine, why do they have to boycott a broadcast that says, where people are just wearing a t-shirt saying, where's Peng Shuai? If she's safe, why do they have to basically censor people trying to talk about her?
Yeah, don't look here. Well, Drew, thank you very much, and I'll certainly be watching on the weekend. And good luck with your plight. It's an important issue, and it's something we've got to keep talking about. That's for sure. The human rights in China they've got huge issues over there.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on, Jade.
Thank you.
All the best, and thank you.
Cheers. That's Drew Pavlou there. He's also a Queensland Upper House Senator, but is a huge supporter and in regards to this Peng Shuai situation that continues to unfold over in China and again has been highlighted at the Australian Open. Rex Patrick, our federal senator for SA, also joins us and has been a passionate advocate for human rights in China. And Rex, thank you very much for joining the program. Is this classic Chinese politics to try and censor the women's final?
Look, I think it is pressure on Tennis Australia to make sure that they take human rights out of the eye of anyone watching the tennis. Sadly, it's one of those situations. Tennis Australia will stand and purport to be a sporting organisation when in actual fact they are big business. Yeah. And it's not that they're engaging in politics. We don't mind if sporting bodies choose not to engage in politics, but this is not about politics. This is about human rights. And they can't stand up and put up a sporting facade and use that as a mechanism for, in some sense, trying to censor human rights abuse in relation to a tennis player in China. This is, in some sense, them kowtowing to the hypersensitivity of the Chinese communist regime. They've likely coerced one of their own athletes to withdraw accusations of sexual assault against a senior CCP member. This is just conduct we would not accept in Australia. And Tennis Australia need to be really, really careful because they need to operate here with social licence.
Well, one of their major sponsors, as we know, is a Chinese company, an alcohol brand. You see it in the background of Rod Laver Arena. If I look at my screen right now, where Nadal's playing, you can see it right there. It just really screams that Tennis Australia are putting profits before human rights, doesn't it?
Yeah, again, I don't mind sporting organisations saying they don't want to get involved in politics. I think that's appropriate. But when it comes to human rights, everyone has to stand up. Everyone has to say that the sort of events that are taking place, and Drew mentioned, the plight of the Uyghurs. We can also talk about the Hong Kongers, the freedom issues in Hong Kong, all of these things that are going on, and we have to be able to stand up and say that's not okay. And if people want to turn up to the tennis and they want to express their views about these human rights abuses, then they ought to be allowed. I think it's outrageous. And look, Tennis Australia has backed down, but it's outrageous that they were basically succumbing to foreign interference when they first made what was a bad call in proposing a ban.
No, I agree. Rex, thank you very much. Appreciate your comments.
You're welcome.
Rex Patrick there. If you'd like to have your say on this issue, you certainly can. 8223 0000. We're going to take a really short break. Coming up afterwards, the brands you trust. Can you think of the number one company here in Australia that would have won that title in the last 12 months? They promise good service time and time again, and they sell really good sausages. There's a tip.
Introducing the all-new Kia EV6, our first fully electric high-performance vehicle. With ultra-fast charging and over 510 kilometres of driving range. The Kia EV6 has advanced tech, a 12.3-inch panoramic curved display and zero emissions. It's as silent as the critics. To find out more, visit kia.com.au.
Kia, movement that inspires.
In 3 days, Survivor begins.
Survivor's ready!
Australian Survivor Blood vs. Water starts in 3 days on 10.
Can't wait.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. Our summer stock take sale is on now and you'll save up to 40%. That's right, save on our comfortable leather sofas, fabric sofas and sofa beds, dining tables and recliners, including our Australian-made collection. Be part of our massive summer stock take sale and save up to 40%. At Berkowitz, we're not just a furniture store, we're a furniture family. In-store or online.
Harvey Norman's Summer Sizzlers. Enjoy summer at home. Save $300 on the HP 15.6-inch laptop with the latest Intel i7 processor. Now for $1,198. Perfect for back to school. Philips Series 1000 air purifier, hot price $259. Samsung 647-litre 4-door French door fridge with beverage centre, $4,299. Summer Sizzlers, now at Harvey Norman.
The next state election is in March 2022, and with over 7,000 jobs available, the Electoral Commission of South Australia needs your help. So if you want to earn some extra cash and help deliver democracy in South Australia, search SA Election Jobs to find an election job that suits you.
How good does beer sound? But as good as it sounds, it's actually the stuff you can't hear that makes this beer a Cooper's. Every drop contains passion and dedication to always use the finest ingredients and best brewing techniques. It's what we've been doing right here in SA for 160 years. And it's this stuff that will always make Cooper's forever original. Roll into Sip and Save and roll out with a Sweet Surf hat. Available now with original Pale Ale 375ml cans.
Feeling the burn?
Cheapest chips.
Save cash with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys. Grab Moccona 175-gram instant coffee tins or Hot Buy at $6.99 each. Finish Powerball 110-pack original or lemon only $16.99. Chum 8-kilo dry dog food a scorching $18.99 each. And Party Bag huge 1-kilo assorted confectionery bags a sizzling $6.99 each. Check out this week's catalogue for more Hot Buys in store and online. Save cash and live cheaper with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys now.
$13.95, Adelaide's FIVEAA. This is Jade Robran.
20 minutes past 3 o'clock. It's funny, when you're out and about shopping and, there are the stores that I just gravitate towards because, it's a habit. I've been going there for ages. And then there's some that I just trust because their ad tells me something and that I believe it and I know I'm going to get a good deal. What are the brands and stores that you trust? 8223 0000. Well, Bunnings. Bunnings has claimed the title of Australia's strongest brand. I think I basically lived at Bunnings last year, renovating a house. I was literally there 3, maybe 4 times a week. Sam at the paint section. There was Julie in the bathroom and kitchen settings. I became first name basis with some of the people there at Bunnings. Is that sad? Probably. Well, anyway, they have taken away the top spot in Brand Finance Australia's annual report of brand strength. Marketing expert Barry Urquhart from Marketing Focus joins us. Barry, good afternoon. Who doesn't love a Bunnings snag?
Good afternoon, Jade, and I'll love it even more in the second quarter of the year with the federal elections coming on.
Oh, photo opportunity max.
Exactly. Look, I think that Bunnings is a glowing example because let's take the contrast of that. Bunnings is an institution. It is a state of mind, but it is Australian. When Bunnings, or Wesfarmers who own Bunnings, paid something and spent and invested something in the order of $1.6 billion, taking the name Bunnings and going into England and Britain, in 18 months' time they wrote it off and sold the business as a going concern for £1 English pound. Therefore, branding has got to be relevant, local and pertinent.
Goodness gracious me. Well, look, let's talk about the top 10. So Bunnings, as we just spoke about then, short, sharp advertising, they make promises for low prices and, I don't even know if they do have the lowest prices, but they make you believe that they have the lowest prices. And then you've also got these little tutorial videos that they look like they want to help you. And then when you are in there, they're just a wealth of knowledge. So, and then this community engagement program that they've got with their sausage sizzle. So all round, they're very clever.
Well, beyond that now, what they've got is an opportunity for their staff, because they can't go overseas for holidays, they can now throughout Australia, Western Australia in particular, because of the the hard borders there, they can actually apply to actually get an appointment within the Bunnings network as an employee to go to various locations and have a default holiday. So I think that kind of is, again, engaging and registering a very important consideration, that engagement with the community is very, very fundamental. Of course, the one other thing that you have not noticed, or you're not commented on, I'm sure you have noticed, is that in the last couple of weeks they've all of a sudden started to promote people to say, and we'll give you even greater rewards, because when you buy from Bunnings and transact it, you will accumulate Flybuys programs along with Office Work sale, and that is a further incentive, so that they are really connecting, engaging and involving people across the board. Now, that's one other thing. The other thing is, what a wonderful statement and measure of endorsement by the federal and state government, whereby Bunnings hardware, along with some of the other hardware stores, was recognised and registered as an essential service. So whilst other retail businesses were being closed down, the government was putting the imprimatur of, hold on, Bunnings is an essential service and therefore must give continuous service. So consistency, continuity, peace of mind, and you use the key word, that all builds up trust and implied value across the board.
Well, number 2, Woolworths. And I've been noticing that they're not really doing food ads anymore, but rather community service type ads. Like, hey, come in, we'll respect you, you respect us, wear masks.
Yeah, Woolworths is a classic situation, because remember the history back in 1987 when we had the share market crash. Woolworths was the jewel in the crown for a South Australian-based conglomerate that went broke, Adelaide Steamships. Now, when they were there, they only had about 17% market share. They bought an expatriate Australian retailer back into Australia, looked at Woolworths and said, we're going to have to specialise. What are we going to become famous for? And they decided that they didn't have the budget, didn't have the buying power, couldn't buy the advertising. They centred on one narrow range of products, and they became the fresh food people. It became a state of mind, and they are today the largest numerically and with market share supermarket retailer in Australia. They've cut through with the previous management of Six Messages. Brad Banducci, the current chief executive of Woolworths, has said, let's bring it back to a very simple process of the everyday lower prices. So get away with the promise of everyday lower prices, green, cheap, the 1,000 specials a week, and they got rid of their reward, their loyalty program became rewards, and immediately people started to recognise familiar, trust, interacting, and now this brand is very important in the digital era, because good, effective brand marketing simplifies the buying process and expedites it. Because as you said, you walk through a supermarket, you walk through a shopping centre, you've got 2 seconds to grab a person's attention. If you say hardware and it becomes Bunnings, if you say a supermarket becomes Woolworths, the battle for the mind, the battle for share of mind equals share of market has been won, and that's why there is so much value in this current digital era, where it's all about go online, it's all about price, product and promotion. No, invest in your brand and you will build up loyalty, repeat business over a long period of time, because in your introductory comments, you have developed a relationship with people who you know by name, who you will buy paint from and other accessories. You don't even contemplate looking at the alternatives.
Well,
that
I just
is manna for heaven.
Well, it is, isn't it? I feel like I'd be cheating on Sam the painter at the Bunnings section there. So Officeworks, they come in at number 3. Now, last year, last year wasn't. No, forget. We move on. Officeworks, they're in at number 3. Now, homeschooling, stationery, home crafting, is that such a surprise? I mean, we spent a lot of time locked down and at home, so does this come as such a surprise that Officeworks are in at number 3?
No, remember, brands are built up over a period of time. If you went out and did a survey right now and say, what is the first companies that come to your mind, and don't have any prompting, Officeworks wouldn't be as strong or as omnipotent as what they have developed over the last 2 years. They were very strong last year with working from home, because everyone had to establish home offices. So it became a state of mind, it became a destination. That's what retailers want. They don't want to be a convenience store, they want to be a destination. Officeworks became that, but of course now we all have all of our stationery, all of our office equipment required there in the home. We don't need to visit it as often. And so when you're not there and being conspicuous and being repeatedly exposed to those products, services and brand names, it doesn't have the power that it did have. And that's why they really are, based on value, ranked number 70. So the brand is there, but the value of the brand, it's not in the top 3, 4 or 10. It's actually 70th, purely and simply because the need for it and the appeal of it has waned somewhat over a period of time.
Well, Commonwealth Bank, it was number 1 last year, and now they don't even make the top 5. Why would that be?
Very simply, it comes down to branches. How many people are now being encouraged overtly and covertly by the big 4 banks? Don't come to our branch. Let's do it online. Yes. We don't want to see you. See, it's like what people don't seem to understand is that when you are engaging people, 70% of the reasons why people prefer a brand, a product, a application, it's based on emotion. Now, I'm sorry, consumers say to us repeatedly in research, when I go online, it's a process. When I go online, I probably know what I'm looking to buy. I want some finance. Now, that's an interesting situation. They want finance, but there's a leakage now because the loyalty to the big 4 banks, Commonwealth Bank is the biggest, of course, it's starting to wane appreciably because people have got alternatives. There's now buy now, pay later opportunities. There's credit cards. There's cryptocurrency, all of that sort of thing. So the fintechs are starting to encroach into the market share and the dominance and state of mind because, interestingly enough, banks are an interesting proposition, particularly with brands. People don't like banks, Commonwealth included. But they do respect it, particularly at times like this when the share market has crashed over the last 72 hours. People say, well, where am I going to park my money? They will respect the stability of the bank, that they respect that. They don't like the banks and their policies.
Oh, it's fascinating. Barry Urquhart, we've got to move on, but thank you so much. That is Barry Urquhart, Managing Director there at Marketing Focus. Coming up soon, we're going to have, this is going to be a funny chat because Michael Keelan passionately hates fake grass. And there's a couple of councils in South Australia that are banning their fake grass on the side strip there, and he's all for it. But there's a lot of people that want to keep their fake grass. We're also going to be talking to the ladies from Hello SA, a new travel show that is launching on Channel 9. So we'll hear about that soon. We're going to take a break. You're listening to Adelaide's 5AA.
Mike Keelan and Angie McBride, the 5AA Gardening Show.
Radishes are excellent allies of liver and stomach. Radishes are beneficial for the treatment of urinary disorders. Radishes are perfect to facilitate weight loss. I like that one.
We'll be on to that.
Everything you need to know for a glorious garden.
Radishes stimulate skin beauty. Ladies, there you are. A radish a day will keep the wrinkles away.
Sunday mornings from 7 on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
As the world changes, spaces change. We should know. For 110 years, Workspace has manufactured through world wars, depressions, and now a pandemic, seeking to inspire productivity in the spaces they shaped. Adapt your space to a changing world with bespoke, high-quality furniture made here in SA. Workspace can manufacture, freight, and install your commercial furniture needs. Get solutions for the spaces of today and tomorrow. Make space work at workspace.com.au.
A new year means a new beginning, and with new beginnings come new opportunities. Don't miss out on yours. FIVEAA Isuzu Ute is having a huge sale, and it's a biggie. We have amazing deals across the entire range of new and demo D-Max and MUX, with new stock arriving daily. Plus, FIVEAA Isuzu Ute offers super competitive finance packages and great trade-in prices. Don't miss your chance to save. Get in quick. FIVEAA Isuzu Ute, driven by Australian Motors. LVD 80.
With continued cases of COVID-19 across South Australia, now's the time to book your booster. Boosters increase your protection against all COVID-19 variants, including Omicron, and they're available 3 months from your second dose. Plus, there are now more clinics and more appointments to choose from. Book your booster at your local GP, pharmacy or SA Health clinic. Book your booster now at covidvaccine.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
For radio lovers, it all adds up.
DAB Plus is the innovation to your favourite station, where the music is nearer, like the announcers are sat in your rearview mirror. And with DAB Plus, there's even more for us. Hip-hop, kids pop, 80s and jazz, more than 20 extra stations, just as soon as you upgrade your audio with a brand new radio, because there's more to love for us on DAB Plus.
What would you say if I told you that you could retire in just 5 years? 5 years. MBA Financial Strategist can design you a retirement plan. It will help you plan to maximise your super and bridge the gap between what you have and what you'll need. It's called Retire in 5, and you can start the clock today so you can retire when you want to retire. Start with a free consultation with MBA Financial Strategist. Retireinfive.com.au. See website for T's and C's.
Life is about choices, and there's plenty to choose from at a Barrow Hotel. Take the Excelsior, the Albion, the Birkenhead or the Sundowner in Whyalla, all brimming with choice, especially when it comes to the latest machines in a comfortable, safe environment, with amazing staff to give you the best experience. For the latest in machines and comfort, visit the Excelsior, the Albion Hotel, the Birkenhead Tavern or the Sundowner in Whyalla. You just know it's a Barrow Hotel. Gamble responsibly.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
I'm Kendall Brettig. Premier Stephen Marshall's announced 50% density rules for hospitality will return from 1 minute past midnight. It comes as another 5 people with COVID pass away in SA, and we've had 1,846 new cases. $1 billion plan has been announced to protect the Great Barrier Reef. There's been a court setback for INXS guitarist Tim Farriss, and Rafael Nadal has taken the first set against Matteo Berrettini in their semi-final. He leads 5-1 in the second. Partly cloudy and 27, at the moment 26. More news at 4 o'clock and as it happens on 5AA.
Jade Robran on 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
It's 3:33 on this Friday afternoon, and now it's time to join Jane Riley beyond the border on her virtual Victorian tour, and it's all thanks to the local travel experts at RAA.
Tim Granfield is the Executive Officer of the Great Southern Touring Route. Tim, it's a great job you've got, sharing your knowledge and passion for this fabulous part of our country.
It certainly is, Jane, and offers visitors a vast range of different experiences and attractions and activities, and I guess that's why it's been so popular for so long.
It's one of those trips that's on many folks' bucket lists. That's something that they're always going to do, but now's the time to do it.
It is on their bucket list because of the 12 Apostles and the Great Ocean Road, which really is such a beautiful drive, and the 12 Apostles is, of course, the iconic attraction that is on the Great Ocean Road.
And some of those little towns are just gorgeous, like Port Campbell and Port Fairy. Like, you know, there's some beautiful towns and beautiful beaches, those sandy beaches.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, Port Fairy is one of my favourites for sure. It's just such a beautiful little quaint fishing village, and it offers the visitors just such a beautiful, relaxing stay, and there's some really good food and wine offerings there. Lorne as well and Anglesey are great beachscapes too, and offer great fishing and surfing.
And then you can just head inland and end up in the Grampians, and you have that stunning landscape of those huge rocks that look like some incredible sculptures left them there for us to play on and explore.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's some amazing adventure and wildlife.
We're encouraging South Australians to get on board and check out your website, and also to check out the RAA website if you want any more information about the Great Southern Touring Route. Also follow RAA and 5AA on social media. Tim Granfield, thank you for the chat. I really love that.
Thank you, Janie. We look forward to welcoming South Australians to our patch.
They'll be there. They'll be coming over in their droves.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Jane Riley. Now, the Hotels Association are asking people to please book your dinner dates. Please book a table, because the Premier eased restrictions. Capacity in hospitality has been raised from 25 to 50%, amongst other changes. We brought you the press conference live earlier, but in case you missed it, here's a quick recap from Premier Stephen Marshall.
And what I can announce, effective at 1 minute past midnight tonight, is that we will restore 50% density
for hospitality in South Australia. Now, the hospitality sector has been doing it extraordinarily tough. We, of course, have already announced our 7th round of support for businesses that are affected. There is further support on its way, but effective at 1 minute past midnight tonight, we will go back to 50% density in our hospitality. Still seated consumption indoors, no change to outdoor densities. What I can also let you know is that elective surgery, paediatric elective surgery for children in South Australia will also be permitted as of 1 minute past midnight tonight. Now, we appreciate that most of that elective surgery won't be able to be scheduled for until next week, but we're giving advance notice that as of 1 minute past midnight tonight, that will be available. And we're also narrowing the scope of the requirement to use QR codes. Now, at the moment, as you know, nearly everywhere you go, we are collecting that QR code data. We're no longer going to require it in retail. So when you go to the supermarket, you go to the service station. We are still going to require it in hospitality settings and in higher risk settings like hospitals, aged care facilities and the like, and that will all be put into the direction which will be available later tonight. So we're gradually easing those restrictions. We've received advice from Professor Joshua Ross with regards to the likely distribution. We are still going to, even with these restriction changes, still likely to see a slight reduction in the number of cases that we have in South Australia over the coming weeks, and that will give us, I think, further confidence to further make reductions in restrictions in the coming weeks. But probably at this stage, the COVID Ready Committee is leaning towards making changes on a fortnightly basis. So we'll come back closer to a fortnight tonight and be able to provide further details of restrictions into South Australia. So there's some big changes underway in South Australia at the moment. First of all, we've got 25% of our office workers back at work in South Australia effective yesterday. We've got schools resuming on the 31st, the 2nd and the 14th of February. And of course, as of tonight, densities lift in hospitality from 25% indoor up to 50%. And hopefully, as we continue to do well with this Omicron outbreak, we can make further restrictions that will improve outcomes in hospitality and other sectors as well.
Premier Stephen Marshall there. Now, what's your thoughts on fake grass? Now, my next guest, he absolutely hates it. Our gardening guru, Michael Keelan. And he's not alone. The Norwood, Payneham and St Peter's Council isn't a fan either. They've given residents with fake grass out the front of their houses on the nature strip there. They've told them, you've got to get rid of it. You've got a year to rip it up, otherwise we're going to come in and do it for you. Michael, welcome to the program. You're team Norwood, Payneham and St Peter's Council, aren't you?
Yeah, well, close by. Look, it's interesting. I probably hate it a little bit hard, but I think, you know, in the sporting world, they've got their places. A dear friend of ours had a small area, shady area at the back of his house, couldn't grow lawn, couldn't grow this. He put it there and it changed his life. But in the medium strip business and the verges, I really think we can do better. Look, I know there's a huge industry in it worldwide. You know, they sell
very much so.
billions of dollars of it. But,
and it used to look really, really fake, whereas now, wow, it looks fantastic. Sometimes you wouldn't even know.
Do you realise they have one called Jade?
I did not.
Yes, it's got a little bit longer than the others, but, you know, it's with ideal situation somewhere. But, see, they've got all these different densities and quality of this artificial turf and grass. There is a slight difference. Turf is generally referred to as sporting grounds and things like that around the world, whereas grass is sort of like we have on the verges. And we've got one just down the road from us on Hallett Road, and I'm not sure if they fixed it yet. It's been disgusting for years. It really has. I mean, even if they paved it or planted roses or did something else, it would look 100%. And I think for people with these synthetic grass verges, probably do better. And look, you know what, Jade, when you have a lovely verge, it can be planted out simply with Australian native plants or simply ground covers. They look absolutely fantastic, and it adds value to your property.
But isn't the fake grass there because you just can't be bothered watering or planting? Isn't it the easy solution that you go, oh, I'll just whack it on down and it looks beautiful all year round? Isn't that the whole point? So you can't be bothered planting.
Well, it is the whole point, but it doesn't work because it gets ripped, cars go over verges and, dogs and so forth. And I think the other thing is, too, everything in life's got its place, but I think for verges, when there's councils that are collecting money from our rates and that, they can do a bit better. I think at least if they're going to have them there, maintain them and maintain people's verges, that they don't. They just give it a verge, you go along and buy it and pay a lot of money per square metre for these synthetic grasses, and then you think you don't have to look after it. Well, obviously it's not working.
Now, they get really, really hot as well, don't they? That's something I wasn't aware of.
Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know whether the industry would come back at me if I say this, but you see people in their brochures and that lying on the grass, kids playing. I don't know whether I'd like to run around bare feet on a day like today if you had the artificial grasses and turfs. I mean, all right, you've got footy boots on and you've got sneakers or something like that. And I worry about dogs walking on it in the hot weather. But, I know you'll get the people that think it's fantastic ringing up probably saying it's this and that. But look, we've got the most perfect climate, and in most cases, we've got lovely soil where you can, work on to have a beautiful lawn out the front of your house. And it adds value to your property if you look after it.
Oh, this is true. I actually need to ask you about some grass, and I need to get the name of it because we've got this grass that it must have grass steroids in it because we'll mow it one week and the next week it'll be up to my knees, and it's unbelievable. Which is a good problem to have, I get that, but mowing every week is really super annoying. But it's lush, beautiful grass, but holy smokes.
Well, you see, you've obviously chosen the correct grass for your situation. And, you've got good soil. You've obviously worked on that. And I agree with you.
I talk to it and I sing to it. Maybe I need to stop doing that.
How could it not grow?
Well, that's right. Michael,
but seriously, I'm sure there is a place for the artificial turf, but not on our beautiful verges. People can work on them. They can grow veggies in their verges, and it does. You ask Anthony too. It adds value to your property.
Well, I like that idea, actually, Michael Keelan, is that community little gardens. Maybe we could all think about popping something, basil or mint or something, and then we can all share. That'd be really nice. So Michael Keelan is thumbs down. So is Mitcham, Norwood, Port Adelaide, Enfield, Charles Sturt, Unley, Prospect, Campbelltown and Burnside. They're all the councils that thumbs down, nah. Cannot have fake grass. Are you a fake grass fan? Have you got it on your nature strip and you've been told, nah, sorry, it's got to come off? A couple of people have, and they got the council approval, and now turn around, sorry, backflip, got to get rid of it. You'd be a bit annoyed about that, wouldn't you? Coming up afterwards, we've got a new segment on the show. Every Friday, we are going to talk to a host from Hello SA, the new travel show on Channel 9 at 5:30 on a Sunday. They're going to be telling us what's happening around our great state because we have so many fantastic festivals. And I was talking to Tammy and I said, you know what really annoys me is that you'll watch someone pop up doing the Weather Channel and they're at a classic cars thing or some festival and you think, oh, man, I wish I knew about that. I would have gone down and had lunch or checked it out. So we're going to solve that problem for you. And every Friday, we're going to talk to a host from Hello SA to find out what's going on in our great state. So that's coming up next.
Support your state and earn some extra cash. The state election is held on March 19th this year. And the Electoral Commission of South Australia need over 7,000 South Australians to help deliver democracy on polling day. So, if you could do with some extra cash and want to support South Australia, head to ecsa.sa.gov.au and register to work at the state election.
In 3 days, Survivor begins.
Survivor's ready!
Australian Survivor Blood vs. Water starts in 3 days on 10.
Can't wait.
Hi, I'm Peter Berkowitz from Berkowitz Furniture. Our summer stock take sale is on now and you'll save up to 40%. That's right, save on our comfortable leather sofas, fabric sofas and sofa beds, dining tables and recliners, including our Australian-made collection. Be part of our massive summer stock take sale and save up to 40%. At Berkowitz, we're not just a furniture store, we're a furniture family. In-store or online.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. It's holiday season, but now's not the time to sit back if you're thinking of selling your home. Adelaide prices continue to hit record highs. The opportunity to maximise the value of your home has rarely been stronger. Buyers aren't spending their break just eating turkey. They're proactively trying to secure their next property, and quickly. We've been helping Adelaide buyers and sellers for almost 40 years. So if you'd like to know how much your home might be worth in this current hot market, go to toop.com.au.
It may not be that exciting to learn that Playford Pavers are one of the few companies that still make their own pavers on site. Riveting, isn't it? But what if I told you that because Playford Pavers make their own pavers for driveways, entertaining areas and pathways, you pay a lot less? How good is that? Pay less at Playford Pavers. Visit playfordpavers.com.au.
It's value the Australian way at Coles with great fresh specials this week. Like sweet juicy pink lady apples, 100% Aussie and just $3 a kilo. This week at Coles. Offer ends Thursday.
I wasn't sure about making new mates when I moved to FIVEAA. Turns out I didn't have to worry. I do balance classes with the troops twice a week, and then I catch up with everyone when I man the bar for happy hour. That's about the right balance for me. Yeah, well, I wish I'd made the move to FIVEAA sooner.
There's never been a better time to take the first step to great retirement living. Search FIVEAA First Step today.
$13.95, Adelaide's FIVEAA. This is Jade Robran.
It is 10 minutes to 4 o'clock, and then coming up after afternoons with myself, it's the sports show. And Biggs, what's happening?
A huge night of sport coming up, of course. We've got the Big Bash Grand Final. The Scorchers, of course, have been waiting for the winner of the Strikers and the Sixers. Unfortunately, the Strikers couldn't get there, so it's Sydney Sixers taking on the Perth Scorchers. So the Scorchers will start hot favourites, so that'll be good. We'll talk to Brad Hodge about that, by the way, in the lead up to that game. The Socceroos were great last night. We'll talk to Simon Hill about that. We'll obviously recap on Ash Barty, first Aussie woman into the Australian Open final in a long time, 42 years, I think it's been. Amazing. So that's going to be big. And of course, the other news, it will just follow up a little bit more on this gasworks site. We know the Crows were keen to get that. They got knocked back. A little bit more discussion today that there may be a couple of other sites in the works. Ross Pelligra, who of course owns a development company, and that company is partnered with the Crows. He spoke today saying that there's some other sites in the works that they're looking at. So,
mystery sites.
Yes, so we may try and investigate that a little bit more.
Intriguing. Thank you, Biggs. Thanks. Have a fantastic weekend. It's been great talking to you. Now, Hello SA on Sunday, 5:30 on Channel 9. It's the travel and lifestyle show that everyone can enjoy, and we're joined today by one of their hosts, Lauren Chesray. And Lauren, it's so nice to talk to you because this is a new segment that we're going to be doing each and every week, talking to one of the hosts from Hello SA to have a bit of a look around the state of what's on in Adelaide. How are you?
It is. Hello, Jade. How are you?
I'm excellent. I get to this time of the year, this time of the week, and I'm always thinking, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with the kids? So we're definitely doing the big wedgie because they're obsessed with that. So that's a tick. But what else is on?
Oh, the big wedgie. Well, the big wedgie is the world's tallest inflatable water slide. And it just happens to be here in Glenelg.
I did not know that. When I first took the kids, I looked at it and went, are you sure you want to be doing that? That looks really scary.
But did you do it?
No, of course not.
Well, Hayley and I did it, and I'm glad there wasn't a microphone anywhere near me because the things coming out of my mouth couldn't go on TV, let me tell you that.
Okay, should I do it?
Yes, you have to do it. You know what? Sometimes you need to take a bit of a risk and do something that you might not have done in a very long time, something you might have done as a kid or with your kids, and it's very liberating. I got to say, we've done some crazy things on the show in the past, like abseiling down the bluff. Did I want to do it? No. After I did it, I was pretty proud that I'd done it. So I think you should do it and take a photo and post it so we know you did it.
Okay, it is a deal. Well, see, the listeners know that I have been trying a few things, thinking that I'm still really young, and I'm currently carrying a stretched hamstring at the moment because I tried a water ski a few weekends ago. So that's okay.
Did you really?
Yeah. But that's okay. We'll put that aside and we'll get up on the big wedgie.
Oh, well, do you know what? I'm probably the same. I tried Pilates this week and I'm in all sorts. I'm walking downstairs. You'll probably see it while I'm trying to film. I look like I'm limping and it's all because of Pilates. So it's the same thing.
Oh, see, exercise should be illegal.
I know, that's why we don't do much of it on the show.
Now, I want to talk about the show. Hello, SA. So a lot of our listeners would know you from Adelaide, but it's had a little bit of a change, and you've got, of course, 5AA and Channel 9's Tom Wren, so it's two girls and a guy. Tell us a bit about the show.
Oh, do you know what? We're so proud to be in this time slot. So Adelaide, Hayley Pearson and myself have been doing Adelaide for 6 years now. And we've moved to the 5:30 time slot on 9, which we are very excited about. And we're bringing Tom Wren in. Rennie, he's a very funny guy, isn't he, Jade?
He's so nice. Have you noticed that he always pats you on the back when he talks to you?
No, I haven't got a pat on the back, but the one thing is he doesn't quite get my sense of humour. So sometimes I'm joking, he goes, really? And I'm like, no, Tom. That was So he's still getting to know us, I think, there.
Oh, good. No, you look after him. We love him here.
No, we will indeed. And you know what? Hello SA is all about sharing the best of South Australia this week. So it's our first show. We're going to be on air every week of the year, taking our viewers around some of the amazing places to go. And you know what? At a time like this, you know, all the businesses that we're going to, they have had a hard time. There's the travel operators, the restaurants, the people in the city. And you know what? Now is the time that we can actually all go and help them and support them. And, you know, some people might not want to go interstate at the moment. Well, now is the perfect time to take a drive to FIVEAA or take a drive to Clare and inject some money into those areas because they love us. They're kind, they're friendly, and trust me, they're very appreciative.
Oh, that's so cool. And I'm excited because each week we're going to be talking to either yourself, Lauren, or Tom, and we're also going to be highlighting some fun events that are happening in and around Adelaide because, as I was saying, it really annoys me when I'm watching the news and then up pops somebody saying, oh, and this happened today, and da-da-da-da, and you're like, oh, I really wish I knew about that before. So you're going to join us every Friday around about this time to tell us about some fun things. So what have you got for this weekend?
We are. So you did mention the big wedgie. It's, you know, ending of the school holidays. I think if you've got kids or grandkids, head down and support the big wedgie. It's the largest inflatable water slide and it has landed in West Beach until the end of Feb. So make sure you head down there at bigwedgie.com.au. Trust me, it is for adults and kids. You don't have to be a kid. You can be a big kid, and I want you to go down there this week and send us a photo.
I'm in.
You're in, and it's also the final day of the Santos Festival of Cycling tomorrow. The cyclists will ride Stage 3, which is McLaren Vale to Wollonga Hill. This year, WOM Adelaide has been showcasing some of their artists at the stage finishes. Tomorrow is Nancy Bates, who is a brilliant singer-songwriter who'll perform at Wollonga Hill around 12:30. So it's a great way to see a little bit of WOMAD before it heads here in March. So head to tourdownunder.com.au for all the info there. And you know what? I'm in Wollonga right now. We are filming the show on the stunning Fleurieu Peninsula. The weather down here is stunning.
Oh, beautiful. It is so
make
pretty
sure
down there. I just booked Easter, actually, for Port Wollonga. I'm very excited to discover that area.
Did you? Well, the main street of Wollonga is stunning. There's so many little nooks and shops and little winery cellar doors and restaurants. So we are going to be showing that on the show coming up in a few weeks. But you got to come down here when you stay.
I will. I'll ring you and you can give me a to-do list. That's a
I will. I'll be your Hello SA tour guide, Jade. And you know, there's one more thing.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, anyone out there, if you're looking for something to do as well, head into the CBD. We've been doing some filming recently with some bars. You know, we've got some very cool little laneways and little areas like Peel Street and Lee Street and Varden Lane. And you know what? They have been struggling. They need us more than ever. So if you've got nothing to do tomorrow, go have a drink, go buy a cheese board, go do something and celebrate these businesses, because they really need us. They need us right now. And you know what? If I can help someone having a glass of wine and a piece of cheese, I feel like I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah. Gosh, twist my arm. Lauren, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Jade. And so it'll be Tom or Hayley and me every week, and we're so excited to be on your show. So thank you for having us.
It is so nice to have you, Lauren. That is Lauren de Cesare there, one of the team members from Hello SA, which you can watch every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. on Channel 9. And this really is a show that everybody can enjoy. And as you heard Lauren say, we can also help a lot of our friends that have been struggling out in the regions and also the CBD. Guys, that's a wrap for the week. Thank you so much for joining the program. I hope you have an awesome weekend, and I look forward to talking to you on Monday. See you later.
The time is now. An opportunity to tell a new and unique story.